Thank you for organizing such a beautiful meeting so we can get to know each other. But before I tell you about the COVID, I must admit that I was First Lady for only 17 days. After that, my husband was assassinated, and I had to fight to continue the work he had started. And I want to precise also that Lebanon, before the COVID, has witnessed a war, a Lebanese war, that had a lot of victims and was against each other's. Confessionalism was prevailing, and other conditions as well. So when my husband was elected president, I thought it would be the end of our suffering, because the war, the Lebanese war had started very, very early, and that had lasted at least off and on, but it lasted about 20 years as well. But as soon as my husband was elected president, I thought that the First Lady has many obligations. First of all, she has to be the First Lady, and being near her husband in special circumstances, but also a First Lady has to be near the people, has to have the empathy with the people, and has to know more about her people and the Lebanese people. So my first initiative during these 17 days was to go in a very remote area of Lebanon that had just been liberated, and I spent the whole day there listening to people's complaints, what they wanted to, what they were lacking of, what their ambitions were, and what I could do for them. And it still remained after my husband's assassination, where I took the place of his responsibilities in our area, and I became parliamentary responsible, and I did a lot, mainly in two things: education, development, education. Development, it's human development, and education is indispensable to make a human development. And development was very rare for women, education was very rare for women, and even most rare for children. So it has been my ambition ever since. And I must say that I did work a lot, and I did work a lot on legislations for women and for children. Women having their rights, which they didn't have at all, and they were not very highly considered, and children who were working ever since 8 years. I won't go into the details of the legislations, but I was teaching the fact that our children have to be all equals. They have to all go to schools, whether private schools or even better, public schools, and we have to improve the level of the public schools. And women have to know they have a responsibility, and their role is very, very important. So we had this war before the COVID, and when slowly the war and the bad consequences of the war were fading off, we had the COVID-19, and it was a catastrophe for Lebanon that was already living and going through a dramatic situation, especially concerning the living of the people, especially concerning the money that people didn't have anymore. And definitely the COVID came and added a terrible burden on all this. And now we are really going through a dramatic economic situation, a dramatic scholar education, a dramatic situation on all of it. So I think we will continue talking about these subjects when we finish our introduction, but we have to do a lot. And even for the COVID, we had to develop also as women and as responsibles, as members of parliament, as former minister, we have to develop empathy and to go and see all the people. That's why also I started a foundation that I called under the name of my husband, the Nayla Moawad Foundation. And we are working very hard, especially in this situation, where we are assuring 1,500 elementary gifts to many areas in Lebanon. And it's not only the area that I represent as a member of parliament, but I always say my husband gave his life for Lebanon, and I'm in charge of the whole Lebanon. I think it's better to continue and not to continue the conversations amongst us. And it's very important to get to know each other better, to get and to help a more comprehensive project of being unified as first ladies, former or actual first ladies, and to benefit of our mutual experiences. Thank you.